Hey, good night. Good evening. All right. It's so amazing after that last verse that I just put out there. What verse was that? Zechariah 4. Yeah, I think that was Zechariah 4. Yeah, pretty amazing. So, anyways, like I said, I have no idea how he throws these verses at me. I mean, it's through multiple sources, different ways, but when he gives me one that I know he wants me to take a closer look at, he tells me, and I know. So this verse actually goes right along with it. It almost seems like it's just a continuance of it, but it's not in Zechariah. This is Ephesians chapter 2, verses 19 and 20. But I'm only gonna go through verse 19 because verse 20 is self-explanatory. Thank God, it's beautiful. I think they nailed that one pretty much. I'm sure there's some detail, but pretty much it means what it says. But the first part, verse 19, they did a decent job. They picked out the words they understood and clearly, but there's definitely part of it that they couldn't comprehend at the time, and a lot of details that weren't added in. But they did a decent job overall. But we'll read it. Okay, so Ephesians chapter 2, verse 19, and then I'll just read 20 after the way it is because it's beautiful just the way it is. Okay, so here we go. Now, therefore, ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God. Okay, it's beautiful. So now, therefore, you are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God. Okay, so that's verse 19. So, and this one worried me a little bit when I was going through it. I'm like, wait a minute, is this talking about the same thing? And when I'm going through it, I mean, there's certain words I recognize now when I look at the numbers and stuff, but I don't know exactly what direction because these words, some of the words can mean multiple things, and it's got to go right along with his word exactly, and the Holy Spirit just leads me. And if I get stumped or whatever, or if I get like, okay, wait, I'm not feeling your guidance and direction, sometimes he'll show me something else. I'll have to talk to another brother or sister, or see something else on another brother or sister's what they're giving out, and he enlightens me, and then I'll go back and boom, focus. Like it's almost like he zooms me right in on it. So anyways, it's just amazing the way God works. That's bottom line. It's amazing the way he works. All right, so this is Ephesians 2, verse 19, right here, taking every word back to its origin, and you'll see what I mean when I start going through it. Okay, so these things being so, and it seems to go right along with the verse I just did earlier today. These things being so, truly to raise up, to draw up fish, catch fish, become fishers of men, right? To draw up fish, to appropriate what is taken from among the living. We were taken from among the living. Look, because we're born into death. So we keep this in mind. We were taken captive, caught in Satan's snare, the sheep that went astray from the living. We were taken from the living. So this is saying to draw up fish, to give out the gospel, to create apostles, to pour out what he's pouring into us, to give out what he's pouring into us, right? To raise up and draw up fish, to appropriate, fishers of men, right? To appropriate what is taken from among the living by a cause. We were taken by a cause to lift oneself. The cause was to lift ourselves to become like God, knowing good and evil. That's what was the cause that Satan lied to us and deceived us with. Truth and lies mixed together there. Okay, taken from among the living by a cause to lift oneself, to be taken away, to bear iniquity. We were taken away to bear iniquity and suffer, to burn by the desire to exalt yourself, to be by the desire to exalt yourself to be. You belong and exist no longer. To be no longer, to no longer exist. To exalt yourself to no longer exist, no longer to be, okay? Not yet, no longer, not yet worthy. We are not worthy yet when we are without by an absolute denial. We turned our backs from our Father and we were birthed into this world by deception, yet still of time. Okay, by an absolute denial, yet still we are of time. We're trapped in time. A thing where now a different state of things exist. So now we're something different. We're in a different state. We were the stars of heaven. We are the Elohim. Well, we still are, but we've been covered over in this flesh. So now we're men, just like Psalms 82 says. 82:6 says exactly. Okay, a thing. We're now a different state. We're in a different state of things that they exist. Henceforth, a foreigner, a stranger, without knowledge, without a share. Now we've been taken from the source of all life. We no longer have that connection, that union. We're without a share, also without the right of citizenship. We are no longer citizens in the kingdom of heaven. We are without the right of citizenship in God's kingdom. One who lives on earth. So when we live on earth, we no longer have citizenship in heaven because we were taken. We are in a fallen state. Okay? One who lives on earth, especially beyond and opposed to above. We're opposed to the above. And it says a house, a human body. In an abode, we are in an abode of demons that possess it, dwelling in your temple. It's stated duality, good and evil. Right here, when you are without Christ, when you are separated, when we were separated and taken from our place of origin by a cause to become like God, to know good and evil, and we've been cast and birthed, thrust down, inserted in these human bodies, which is the snare of the devil, and an idol, vain show, word and image, Genesis 1:26, vain show, a phantom, an idol, especially an idol, okay? So that's our bodies. It's an abode of demons that possess it, dwelling in our temple. It dwells in our temple together, a state of duality. And then he says, now, and I'm worried about this verse. I'm like, man, this don't sound like that verse. But then it says, nay, rather form a transition to the most important matter, to the most cardinal matter. Cardinal, not carnally, cardinal. The most important matter. So nay, rather form a transition to the most important matter. Indeed, save another of the Gentiles, because we're all Gentiles until you're born again. Now you become a true Israelite when you're born again of this Spirit. A prince of El, a prince of God. Israel, princes of God, princes of El. Okay? Indeed, save therefore another of the Gentiles as received into communion of the saints, of people consecrated to God, a native of the same kingdom, of the same town, it says, but the same realm, the same kingdom, the same family, right? So marking a union together by a resemblance of completeness. When we're born again of the Spirit, now we're grafted back into the main vine, back into the tree of life, right? We become a new fruit, which Christ was the first fruit. It's such a beautiful thing. Occupying, okay, now we marking a union together, it says denoting, which is marking a union together by a resemblance of completeness, occupying an intermediate position as a saint, physically purified and blameless, consecrated by the most holy one, chastened and made clean. All the trials and tribulations that we've went through here have turned us back to our Father. Thank God, because there's a lot of people that are not turned back to their Father yet, and the world's about to be shaken, and they're really going to have to go through that tribulation period to wake up, unfortunately. Like the wheat when when it's harvested, and to get that grain out that's good for food, it has to be, the shell has to be husked off, and they would grind it on a tribulum stone, a tribulum tablet made of stones. So tribulation, right? Okay, indeed, soul belonging to the household of God by blood, by his blood, a kindred of his own, the tabernacle of the human body, God's temple, the temple of God. We are the temple of God when we are born again from above with this Holy Spirit grafted back into the tree of life through Jesus Christ, his only begotten Son, saved by grace through faith, right? Saved by faith through grace. Yeah, saved by grace through faith. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that's it. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So, man, he's really stressing it. But now let's read verse 20. So there we are. Got some more details there. Very important details, I think. Okay? We're a house of among demons and that possess our dwelling place, our temple. The demons, when we are without God, we're ran by our flesh. Okay? But it says, nay, rather form a transition to the most important matter, the most cardinal matter. Save therefore other Gentiles, because we're all Gentiles when we're without Christ, when we're without God, without his Holy Spirit. Received into communion of the saints, of people consecrated to God, and native of the same kingdom and realm and family, marking a union together by a resemblance of completeness, occupying an intermediate position here, purified and blameless, consecrated by the most holy one, chastened, we've been chastened and made clean, indeed, so belonging to the household of God by blood, a kindred of his own, the tabernacle, the human body, which is God's temple, the temple of God, when we are born again from above. And this is built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, and Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone of this home, this house. It's a beautiful verse, man. It's a beautiful verse. And believe me, I know why he's putting such emphasis on this. I thought we were going to transition to more about being caught away, even though he does mention that in many verses. But he's really pouring out his Spirit. He wants people to know what this world is and who we are. We're all his children that have went astray. We're the sheep that went astray. We're the stars that Satan exalted his throne above. And he wants us to understand that and know that, because this world is temporary, and we're about to see how temporary it actually is. And this physical being that we are trapped in, this flesh, that is our prison suit while we're in this world, which is a prison. It's a purification system for all those who rejected God, turned their back, disobeyed their Father, and were birthed into the flesh. Yeah, that's it, man. He wants us to know that. So things are wrapping up. Hopefully these videos will hang around after hopefully we're caught up out of here, whenever that is. Soon, I hope. But hopefully they'll be out there and help wake some people up, if it's not censored too bad yet. But I think all the power grid's going to go down, so maybe it'll be out there when it comes back up for a little while for people to catch it. So understand. So anyways, the best way is to spread the word, though. Spread the word. Spread it. Spread the good news, man. Let them know. Let's set the captives free, because what did it say? We're foreigners, right? We're foreigners and aliens, foreigners and strangers, right? Yeah, that's what it calls us here. And in the verse it said foreigners, aliens, all this other stuff. Yeah, to burn, man. All right, so there's that. He's already given me a whole bunch of verses, and I've went through them, and I'll be putting them out as soon as I can. I just got home from work. All right, God bless you. Have a great night. Good night. Bye.